So I think that is, yes, that's my legacy. Now the future. Woo! Okay, the future. I'm going to also subtitle this, The Future is Female, because I have never been so excited for female writers and female voices. There is something in the air. It's unique. It's different. It's engaging, and it's propelling in new directions, and I could not be more excited. So an example will be Rachel Cusk, and she just came through with these amazingly beautiful new editions. And this is from Picador, and they just released these editions. Now, Rachel Cusk is interesting because she wrote. She's been a writer for a very long time. She wrote 2 nonfiction books about 20 years ago, and the first one was called A Life's Work, and the second was Aftermath. The first one, A Life's Work, was about the struggles, the true struggles of being a mother and what that entails and how that is. And she was so honest, brutally honest about that there can be many things about that can make you unhappy. Motherhood is not always a walk in the park, and the idea of like this innate maternal instinct and nature may not be true in all cases. And she talked a lot in very honest and maybe graphic ways about her dissatisfaction with being a mother, and she received such backlash from that. And the next book, which was Aftermath, about an affair and the breakup of her marriage, and she was just shunned, practically stoned for it, and went away, came back years later with this trio. What's fascinating about this, and why I think she belongs in the canon, is because she, as she said in an interview that she just gave a couple weeks ago when she was here, she's talking about all the same material, and she's talking about it in the same way, but the narrator in these is seen as passive. And now all of a sudden she's lauded as being a hero. So I think as a work of feminist literature, of women being in the forefront and kind of talking about and finding ways to talk about their lives, I think Rachel Cusk cannot be overlooked. Another amazing writer, Rachel. This is another Rachel. This is Rachel Kushner. Now, I remember reading The Flamethrowers, and my mind was blown. This is a feminist adventure story. I related very, very much to the main character, not because I had a rich Italian boyfriend who took me off to his villa, but the idea of searching and being willing to take on adventure and try things and be bold and make mistakes and find your way in the world and not know who to trust and trying to navigate as best you can. So this is a stunning book. I love it. The Mars Room just came out to amazing acclaim. It was in the Man Booker shortlist. All sorts of awards are being done for this. I hate the cover, but this is a very good book. Rachel deals with feminist issues, and this one is about the prison complex, told through a myriad of different characters, but one you kind of focus in on. And she's really looking at the injustices that happen to women in the prison, in the prison system itself. So she's somebody to watch, and I look forward to seeing what she comes up with. And I think she will be in the canon as she continues to write forward. Next up, probably so many books here. I am a Zadie Smith fan girl. I just think she is as an intellect, as a woman, as a writer, she's fascinating. I loved Feel Free, her essay collection. One of my favorite things she's ever done, other than White Teeth, which is phenomenal, she wrote in the first edition of British Vogue with the new editor, Edward Einfeld, I think is his name. She wrote a piece about how how the queen reminds her of your old grandmother, and the kind of the middle classness of the queen. That is absolutely brilliant. Swing Time, Changing My Mind, which is a bunch of essays, and NW, also fantastic. What Zadie Smith does incredibly well is she's an accessible writer. She makes so much. So she's able to take identity and the places where it intersects, where being all different ethnicities live together in a neighborhood. There's an intersection there where there's two different girls in Swing Time who are friends, but they grew up in the same project, but they went on to different opportunities, maybe because of racial and class, other than class implications. White Teeth, about all of these different families that live in this neighborhood. She writes. Her writing is just really accessible, but beautiful, and simple, but chic, and I think she writes with a clarity that is refreshing. And anybody could read her books. I think they're wonderful. But her voice, like literally her voice, not just her tone of her narrators or her writing tone, but her actual voice itself is balm to me. I think she's marvelous. Okay, next up is Deborah Levy. So I find Deborah Levy. I'm a new convert, and I'm a new convert from Hot Milk, which ironically, the readers came out to San Francisco. The Readers is a podcast, and they came out to San Francisco and had a readers retreat, and we all read Hot Milk and then had a discussion about it. Simon, I'm still looking forward to this coming out, because I think there were so many interesting perspectives on this book. And this was my first introduction to Deborah Levy, and I've become obsessed. And I have more of her work, and I'm going to continue to follow her because I think she's fascinating. Again, like Rachel Cusk, a mix of nonfiction and fiction. What I love about what she did in Hot Milk is she took on and almost predicted Brexit and the collapse of what was happening with the financial structures, and how it was impacting like the Greek collapse, and some challenges that were happening in Spain with the financial markets. And she did it in a subtle way, and talked about mother-daughter relationships. There is so much going on here. This does engage multiple opportunities to read and get new insights and new things. Things I Don't Want to Know, I thought was an outstanding nonfiction book, where she just took on the George Orwell's his famous essay "Why I Write" as an opportunity to craft her own point of view. So someone to watch, and someone who I think is going to add to the canon. That will also take me to Allie Smith. And Allie Smith, I think, probably is in legacy, not only in this side of the house of the future, but not just for the things she's done, like How to Be Both, which she's known for subverting not just what she's writing about, but how she writes too. This is a book that, depending on which one you get, the first part of it flips. So the first part of it is from one character and one timeline, and then the other half is another. And so you have a different experience depending on which one you get. But she's also doing the season quartet. And so spring, she just released spring, winter, and autumn. I read autumn, and what she's trying to do is be very, very quick and thoughtful about what is happening in the culture at the moment. So autumn featured Brexit. So just like Deborah Levy, this ability to take on political, and on Arundhati Roy, take on political issues and make them accessible and bring them and interweave them with life stories and fiction, I think is phenomenal, and I'm incredibly excited by it. Okay, last two people. Eimer McBride. So I find Eimer McBride, and when I don't find her yet. Oh, here she is. I think she's one to watch. Eimer McBride. She won a ton of awards. The Bailey's Women's, which I think is the Women's Prize now. I think so. But was her first offering. This is a Girl is a Half Formed Thing, and then this was the ARC. Advanced reader copy for the Lesser Bohemians. She is a poet who writes in this most amazingly lyrical way with the most beautiful words, stunning sentences about what it feels like to be a woman and what it feels like to be a girl, using kind of this life journey. So this is 2 parts, and there's going to be a third. I can't wait for it to come out. I think she's someone to watch. People have said she's up there. She belongs with Joyce and Beckett, and more on the Beckett side in the sense that her words are outstanding. So I just think she's something. And to listen to her in audio is, it's godly. It's fantastic. She's amazing. Last but not least, Roxane Gay. So when we look at her offerings, Bad Feminist was the first offering that really put her on the scene. But she had written some actual fiction. An Untamed State was her first offering, and then she wrote Bad Feminist. Then she came out with Difficult Women and Hunger. So she's also doing this interplay of fiction and nonfiction, and being really open with her story, and passing that through into the canon and into the minds of other potential writers and readers. What I love about her, she is unabashedly bold. She is unflinching to the point where I can't read. I had so much anxiety with Difficult Women that I literally dropped the book. I was terrified. And I only had the very first story, and it's because of this gaze, this unflinching gaze, where she is who she is, and she is who she is because of types of things that she talks about in Hunger, and she will explain that to you, but you will listen, and she does it in a way that is powerful, very, very personal, very profound. And I think she's changing the course of literature. So this was a very, very long. I might split it into 2 just so that people will stay with and see it all the way through the end. What I would love to know, who would you put on your canon, your modern literary canon? Are there any of these that you've read that you agree with, that you also think are phenomenal pieces of work by amazing authors? Are there books that you absolutely disagree with, that you think in no way, shape, or form do they belong there? And I do realize that I think I forgot to talk about one of my favorites, was this Michael Ondaatje. So he clearly belongs in Legacy because his work is fantastic. So don't forget about Michael Ondaatje. But with that, because this is far, far too long, I'm going to split it into for sure. Please let me know. I would love to see other people to do this tag. Thank you, Russell, for what an amazingly thought-provoking inquiry. And thank you so much for watching. I'll look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Bye for now.